All right, there's a couple more of Stanley Kubrick's sort of camera work I want to kind of draw your attention to. One of the reasons what we're doing here in class is I'm trying to sensitize you. I'm trying to make you sensitive to things you otherwise might not have noticed. Usually when people go see a movie and someone says, "What do you think?" you don't talk about the camera angles or the composition of the frame. You say, "The story was cool. I liked the main character. I liked the part when the Joker put a pencil in that dude's eye. He's such a cool character." But I want to try that. The trick is this class is we're pointing out things like this, and then when you go see a movie a year from now, you're going to remember the things you learned in this class, and you're going to notice more about what's going on. Let's talk about some more camera stuff. One piece of camera work that I really enjoy. Sorry, I lost track of where I was going with that. Give me 10 seconds. Oh, there we go. One piece of camera, Kubrick likes interesting camera shots. Now, one thing to point out is that a lot of television shows do not have interesting camera work. When you see a television show, there's a person here, and they're talking to somebody, and maybe you do a close-up on their face, and then do a close-up of the other person's face, and it's pretty simple. And Kubrick likes to do dramatic things, like the big swooping stuff, or following Danny on the carpet as he makes his turns and everything. And he has a couple of other key camera things that I really like. One is when in the big finale, when Jack has the axe, he smashes the door of the bathroom to get to Wendy, and he puts a lot of force into it because the character is working hard to destroy that door with an axe. Right? He hits it really hard and fast. And what Kubrick does with the camera is neat. What Kubrick does with the camera is the camera goes, and you can see it follows. And I can't do it as fast as Kubrick does it, or my phone will go flying into my neighbor's yard. But the point is that he slams the camera, follows the axe. It's a great detail because it makes you feel the swing. He could show you the swing. That's fine. He's going to show you the swing of the axe. This is a guy with an axe. He's doing it. But when he moves the camera to echo the axe blows, he goes just as fast as the axe, just as hard, just as sudden. You feel it. And of course, the thing about horror movies, or any movie really, you want to get the audience to feel it. So it's a great example of kind of, it's simple, right? So this is not a secret code. I'm not here to one thing a lot of people on YouTube seem to think is that movies are codes, and that the trick is you got to break the code. It has a meaning, and it's a secret, hidden, interesting meaning. And that's a little bit true. I mean, certainly you could watch Rear Window and not realize it's like a fucked up movie about sex and movies. There's a little bit of that. But a lot of movie appreciation is just noticing how they're built. And so part of that is noticing the camera work. And another one of my very, very favorite things in the movie is when Jack is in the pantry. And there's a very famous shot where he's yelling at Wendy to let him out, and he's telling her he's messed up the snow cat, and that she's in for a surprise and she's trapped. And what Kubrick does is Jack Nicholson has his head against the door, and he's looking downwards. Oh, mosquitoes there. He's got his head like this against the door, and the camera's placed like kind of here, and he's like, "Wendy," and it's a really weird upward angle. It's hard. It's less dramatic with me. With Jack Nicholson's hair, it's coming down like this, and so it's a really weird angle for that. But like it's a fucked up moment in the movie, and so he picks like a super dramatic kind of fucked up, unusual angle. You don't see people's faces from that position very often. And so there's something really he looks inhuman because his hair is falling at a funny angle and his face looks weird. And part of that is the camera work. So I think it's worth it to kind of notice some of these little camera bits in the movie. Another one is sound. Kubrick is great with sound. Again, it's not a secret meaning. We're not trying to decode it. What we're trying to do is notice as much as we can notice about how the thing is built. It's a huge part of, and some of that does involve theme, and sometimes theme can be a little sneaky. But it's simple. Some of this stuff is very simple, but it's worth paying attention to. So there's a simple thing, which is the sound in the film is dramatic and interesting. So let's just take a simple example. He likes to focus on unusual sounds. So for example, when Jack Nicholson is frustrated with his writing, he takes a rubber ball and he throws it at the ground, and then it bounces up and hits the wall, and then it comes back and he catches it. And then he does it again. He throws it at the floor, it hits the wall, he catches it. And he's in a cavernous room. He's in a huge room. And so the rubber ball makes this kind of neat, it's like a repetitive thunk, 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 thunk. It's this hypnotic, repetitive, and crucially, When you first hear it, you have no idea what it is. He doesn't show you what it is at first. He shows you the typewriter, and you hear the noise, and you're like, "What's that? That's an odd noise." And then you realize it's the rubber ball that he's throwing. So he builds a sense that he unsettles you by letting you hear a noise and not knowing what it is. But even if you know what a noise is, it still can be kind of hypnotic or disturbing or surprising. And so he finds a sound. It's a very famous moment in the movie. But it's an oddly hypnotic sound, and it's really interesting. It is the sound of the wheels of Danny's plastic bike, his plastic tricycle. And it's the sound that plastic wheels make, hollow plastic wheels. It's the sound that they make on hard wood, and then the sound that they make on a rug, and then the sound that they make on hardwood, and then the sound that they make on the rug, and then the sound that they make on hardwood, and the sound that they make on the rug. And it's sudden, because it's like, and you can feel it because you see Danny. The camera's really down low like this, and you follow Danny going around here, and he turns the corner. But the noise is a creepy, weird. Because it's unusual. It's simply an unusual noise. A big room like that, a giant, echoey, cavernous room like that, is for big, fancy events. So normally, you're not going to hear the sound of a child. Usually, a child's toy like that is going to be heard on concrete, on the street. To hear that sound in a fancy hotel ballroom is strange. And Kubrick emphasizes the oddness of it, and he uses it to kind of build. It's like a neat, hypnotic, weird sound. And then Danny turns the corner, and there are the twins. Play with us, Danny, forever and ever. I've discovered that making YouTube movies about film means that I have to because it's hard to show you clips. So I'm just doing impressions of all of it out here, which is madness, but I love it. I'm really get to be hammy out here, so it's actually pretty fun. Cool. So there's that kind of really weird, interesting sound that I really like. Cool. All right, we're doing good. I got the low angle pantry shot, looking good. Okay, cool. All right, let's talk about something else then. I talked about and I should say this is, I don't really want to spend a lot of time on this because I hate it when film people do this, but I do want to say, the shot of Danny low down, one of the things, that is a difficult shot to get. Not nowadays, it's not. It's very easy to get nowadays, but Stanley Kubrick had to use new technology to get that shot, and I will admit that I don't fully understand the camera technology behind it. But it's like a gyroscope thing that steadies the camera. See, normally, if you were following the kid down low like this, going over wood, going over carpet, going over every time, because Danny goes up on the carpet and then down the wood, up on the carpet and down. It's just a little bit like this. But the camera that Kubrick is using should bump when he bumps, right? When they go over the carpet, shouldn't they also bump too? But it doesn't. And he's using a special thing that allows him to smoothly follow Danny low to the ground without bumping like Danny bumps. That doesn't seem very important, except it was a new technique when they did it. It was like a new technology, basically, and it suggests something inhuman following Danny. Why? Because a person following Danny would have to go over the bumps that Danny's going over. To follow Danny smoothly like this over the carpet and the floor, the carpet, the floor, but without bumping, suggests that whatever's following Danny low to the ground is floating. And that's fucking creepy. It's one of the things that causes the movie to feel disturbing. Is those bumps, is the lack of bumps, because the person following, and again, nothing's following Danny. It doesn't turn out there's a monster behind him. It's from the audience. It's not about what's happening in the movie to the characters. The audience feels unsettled because they feel like something's following him. But the thing that's following him is not human because it doesn't have to go up and down on the carpet and the hardwood the way Danny does. So it's a creepy kind of inhuman force. Cool. I feel like this is going really well. Let's keep going. See you in the next video.